Hi, welcome to another episode of Cooking with Nan. I have a new apron on, as you will see. My friend Sarah gave that to me for my birthday, and Abby is going to wear the Cooking with Nan apron. The first thing we're going to do is to preheat the oven to 350, and then we are going to prepare our pans. You'll see that this video is a little bit different because only Abby and I are here. And so we're the only ones that can do the video. So we're going to prepare our pans by putting just a little bit of shortening in them and then putting some wax paper in. And I'm going to show you how to do that, and then Abby's going to do the next one. So you just put just a little bit so the wax paper will stick. And you want to get these things done before you do the cake. So you put about that much wax paper, and then you tuck it into the pan. And then you cut off any excess. That way you can lift the cake out, because we're going to be cutting this cake into 4 layers. So we want to be able to handle it easily. And there we go. Okay, now Abby is going to do her pan. So she just takes just a little bit of Crisco. You could use butter, or you could spray it with Pam. And she's just spreading it in the bottom of the pan. These pans are very old, but they still work very nicely. And she'll put her wax paper in. And we'll get our pans ready. Abby is holding the original, and I'm going to try to get a close-up of it. I did this in 1964. It's the original. You can see that there's lots of little spatters of red velvet on it, but we still use it. So Abby has collected most of our ingredients, and she's going to read the instructions, and we've read them out loud to each other so we make sure we have everything. So we've already measured a 1/2 cup of Crisco. So she's going to put that in. And then she is going to add a 1.5 cups of sugar. And she's going to cream all that in together. And once she does that, then we're going to add 2 eggs. We're going to let that cream for just a second, and we'll be right back. Now we're going to add 2 eggs. We want to make sure that the eggs are safe. They don't have any little red spot or anything in them, so we crack them one at a time in the bowl, and she's going to add them one at a time as that sugar and shortening is creamed. Now she's measuring 2 cups of flour, and you just spoon it very gently into the cup. Don't pack it like you would brown sugar, and then you even it off. Now she's going to slow the beater down and add a little bit of buttermilk. She's going to measure the buttermilk in a cup, and she's holding it up at eye level so that she can make sure that where the 1 cup says is very, very even. So you have to hold it up to eye level, and this is a cup of buttermilk. So she's going to put a little bit of buttermilk in, and then I'll alternate it with a little bit of flour, and a little more buttermilk, and a little more flour. Okay, as you can see, this batter is white, but this is called a red velvet cake. So how do we get it red? Oh, also we put a teaspoon of salt in there too with the dry ingredients. But what I do is I put 1 tablespoon of baking cocoa I know that seems strange. We're going to put a tablespoon of baking cocoa, and then to finish the red, because it'll just be pink if you don't put the cocoa in, then we're going to put two 2-ounce bottles of red food coloring in. And you want to slow your beaters down so it doesn't whip all over the kitchen and make a mess. So now it's starting to turn red. And we're just carefully going to put another one in there. I stand back a little bit with this. Now it's turning red. But as you've noticed, we don't have any leavening, any soda or anything else like that in there. And we do have to put that in. So how we do this, and we're going to get a close-up of this, is we're going to put dry soda, baking soda, in the mix, and then we're going to pour a little bit of vinegar on top, and it makes bubbles. So children like to do this. So it's just 1 teaspoon of vinegar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and then I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of vinegar, and don't measure it over the bowl in case you overflow the spoon. All right, now watch what happens. Isn't that cool? All right, now we finish mixing it. And then I always want to check my recipe and make sure I didn't leave anything out. But we have everything that we were supposed to do. And now we're ready to transfer it into the pans and put it in the oven for about 25 minutes. The cake is done when you can stick a toothpick in and it isn't wet and doesn't have little crumbs on it. But you can also listen to it and you'll kind of hear little air bubbles, and it wants to be kind of rounded and bouncy to the touch. You don't want to overdo it, but you don't want a soupy cake either. All right, let's put it in the oven. All right, so it's really important to me to clean up as you go. That way you don't have a messy kitchen, and then you can enjoy your cooking a lot better. So I just try to rinse up things as I go, especially if I have a helper in the kitchen like Abby. That's great. The first mixer that we used to do the cake was a KitchenAid, a very big fancy one that Corey gave me. She sent it to me when she was in Iraq. But I just got a brand new mixer from my friends Joni and Lisa and Kim and Teresa, and this is its debut. So you're the first ones to see it. We have 8 ounces of cream cheese, and we're just going to beat that a little bit, and we're going to add about 4 or 5 cups of confectioner's sugar and a little bit of milk to make it icing consistency. We're getting this ready while the cake is in the oven because we like to do fun things while we wait. So sometimes you have to measure exactly like the flour and sugar for the cake, but for the frosting we can be a little more generous. So about 4 generous cups of confectioner's sugar, and we're going to mix that in with the cream cheese. If I wanted true buttercream frosting, I would put butter in it too, but we just like it with the cream cheese, so that's how we like to do it. So I'm going to put a little bit of milk in and then mix it, and we'll wait and see what consistency it is. And my new mixer is doing just great. Sometimes you need a hand mixer to do things like this. All right, just a second. We'll be back and show you what the texture should be. So Abby is continuing to beat it. And it's going to be all smooth. And now she's going to turn the mixer off and lift the beaters so that you can see how thick it is. See, it's just hanging on the beater, and that's what you want. If it's too thin, it's going to fall off the cake, but if it's too thick, it won't spread. So see, it's about like that, and off camera I bet somebody is going to take a little taste. Whoops! Where the art of cooking comes in is knowing when it's done. The recipe will tell you one thing, but sometimes experience tells you another. I don't know whether you can listen to it, but you can hear little air bubbles, and I'm touching it on the top, and it looks like it's done. So I'm gonna check this one. Now this, you can see when I move it, you can kind of see it jiggle a little bit, so it's not quite done. It needs just a minute or two more. So we'll set our timer for that. It looked like it was a little fuller. Now we're going to use a toothpick, a wooden toothpick, and insert it near the middle and make sure it doesn't come out wet. And it doesn't, and there aren't any little crumbs, so we know that this one's done because we've touched it very lightly and it passed the toothpick test. So the other one will be done in just a second and we'll check it. We're going to let these cool for at least 20 or 30 minutes, and then we're going to cut them in half in a very interesting way. But I forgot to tell you this. When we were resting our spoons and our things, we were resting them on the spoon rest that Abby made in pottery class. We'll be back when the cakes are cool. So now the cake layers are almost cool. And this is the surprising part. We're going to have a 4-layer cake, but we only have 2 layers, so we have to cut them. But if you cut them with a knife, they get kind of zigzaggy. So Abby is going to cut them with a simple piece of sewing thread. What she's going to do is, with the cake still a layer on the wax paper, she is going to center it about halfway between the cake, and then she's going to wrap it around halfway, and then she's gently going to pull so that it cuts through the layer. Finally, the 2 pieces of thread will come together. There you go. All right. And now you kind of have to be sleight of hand, and we'll show you how to try to get this off. So I'm going to put this layer, I'm going to scoot it on my cake plate by turning it. I'm going to invert it on this cake pan, and then with the part that has the wax paper, I'm going to slip my hand under, and then I'm going to put it on the serving dish. I'm going to very gently pull the wax paper off, holding it, and then I'm going to slip it on the serving paper. You see, I'm putting it with the smooth side that was by the wax paper down. If I use this, it's going to get all crumbly, and we'll put that on top. Now, to frost it, we're just going to, okay, this is how much frosting we've got, and it's got to go for the whole cake. So I'm just going to take a little bit off. I'm going to leave a little hole in the center here. I'm going to take the cake plate, and I'm just very gently going to smooth it around, and I'm going to leave a little hole here in the middle so when I set the next layer on it, it won't slide. And if you find that your frosting is too thick, you can always add a little more liquid, just a little bit and a little bit. If you find it's too soupy, you can always add a little more confectioner sugar to get the right consistency. So in between the layers, we're just going to put just a little bit of frosting. Now the cake is frosted, but you don't want to serve it unless you know it is really good. Now, this cake wasn't for any special occasion or birthday, although we usually make it for birthdays. It was just because we were having fun being together and because Abby asked to do it. And I can't think of anything I'd rather have done this evening. So she's going to take a bite. How is it, Abby? All right.